Hey, this is Notser. I'm going to talk about credits, because why not? But before we do, the game in the background is the Baltimore cruiser on the map Northern Lights in a Tier 10 match. You'll get to see how I play it. I'm not really going to comment that much, so all of the information I'm about to give you is non-premium. Wargaming does a great job of displaying both your premium and non-premium income if you were to have one or the other. So I can just go back to old videos and look at my Tier 4s, Tier 5, Tier 6, Tier 7, Tier 8s, and share that information. So, Tier 4. The cost is pretty fixed, around 4,000 credits. Non-premium, completely free account, remember. 4,000 is pretty good, okay? You could load up, fire a shot, and make back that cost. So, Tier 4 is very reasonable for someone who just can't afford to play higher tiers. Not very good. They're working to improve themselves. You can enter a Tier 4 match and be pretty successful right off the bat. And there's a high ceiling of income, 120,000. That's a carry game. All of these examples are going to be carry games, just so you have an understanding. If I do really well, this is what I can expect in each tier. 120,000 credits is about 30 times the cost to play the game at Tier 4. That's fantastic. This is a great tier for people to grind out credits if they're interested. I highly recommend Tier 4, especially for someone who is not very comfortable with high tier gameplay. Maybe they're just trying to improve their game. 30 times is a huge margin of error. You just have so much leeway to have a bad game or a great game. And the time that a Tier 4 match will take is probably around 10 to 13 minutes on average. They're not the longest games, but they're not the shortest games either. So you have a nice window where you can probably play 4 or 5 games an hour and have pretty good income. Now, Tier 5. Tier 5 is a great tier as well. You're starting to get the Königsberg, the Congo, you've got the Minikaze, you've got the Nicholas. These are great ships that can carry a game, find a lot of success, and generate a lot of funds. So Tier 5 costs around 13,000 credits, give or take, of course. That is pretty fixed across all types of players, though. Good and bad. You're pretty much going to spend that kind of credit in order to participate in a Tier 5 match. Now, we earned 175,000 credits in a carry game. That's pretty good. That's really good, of course. And a Tier 5 match isn't that much longer than a Tier 4, maybe 1 minute longer on average. And in a Tier 5 match, that's around 13 times the cost to participate in the match. That's pretty nice. That leaves a lot of room for a good game, a bad game, or a mediocre game. You don't want to grind credits and lose credits. That kind of defeats the purpose. That's why you don't hear of a lot of Tier 9 and Tier 10 players grinding out. You don't do that at those tiers. It's too expensive. But yes, Tier 5 is another great tier for someone who is maybe average with the game, looking to earn credits. The ships themselves perform very well. You won't find a lot of frustration at Tier 5. So another Tier 5 is the Tier 5 premium ship. You have the Murmansk, you have the Kamikaze R, you have the Marblehead, you've got the Gremyashi, you've got a lot of Tier 5 premiums, and the income definitely goes up. 225,000 credits earned for a non-premium account. Remember, it's a non-premium account, all this information. The cost is around the same. I just rounded it up to 15 so I could do easy math, and the math comes out to around 15 times the cost to participate in the match. And that's generally the trend. The general trend for premium ships is that it's somewhere around twice the efficiency for credit income, and that's fantastic. If you can get your hands on a Tier 5, you should get a Tier 5 premium. They do a lot of contests throughout the year. They probably do around 3 Tier 5 premium contests per year where you have a legitimate chance of earning a ship. So just find the time one of these months and participate in an event that is giving a true premium out. The Arpeggio of Blue Steel are not true premiums. They are just the standard ship with a new skin. You do not generate any extra revenue through those particular ships. At Tier 6, you can expect the cost of the ship to be around 25,000 credits each time you pull it. And if you carry in a Tier 6 match, you can expect to earn around 200,000 credits. That's pretty awesome as well. That's 8 times the credits that you could possibly earn versus the cost to enter the match. Again, there's a lot of room for failure and still have the chance to generate enough funds to pay for the time you spent. Now, Tier 6 matches, you're starting to get into Tier 8 games. Tier 8 games will be taking you much longer. We're talking 15, 16 minutes on average, those games will probably take you. So you can only play 4 matches per hour at Tier 6. If you die early, obviously, you can bump up that income. But in general, you want to do the best you possibly can in the match if you're trying to generate credits. Now, I love Tier 6 as well. It has the Cleveland, the Alba, the Fuso, the New Mexico. The destroyers are a little lackluster in my opinion compared to those ships. You also have the Nuremberg. The Nuremberg's great too. How could I forget the Nuremberg? Those ships are fantastic. They're pretty safe as well. It's pretty easy to do damage, which is probably the most important thing you can do to generate credits. Tier 7? Whoa, 50,000 credits just to pull a Tier 7? Yeah, and that income doesn't go up that much. Only 225,000. We were talking about 200,000. Why did we have to spend so much more credits to pull the ship? Well, they're better ships, Notser. Yeah, I know that. But you're running into Tier 9s now. Tier 9s, Tier 10s, they love to drag the game out. 18-minute games, 20-minute games, they don't have a problem with that. You're only getting around 3 games per hour at that rate. That's not very good. And at Tier 7, it's around 4.5 times the cost to even load into the match. We're running into a dangerous territory where we can't guarantee covering the cost of the ship if we don't have a average game or a carry game, as this example illustrates. In my opinion, Tier 7 is probably the breakpoint. Tier 6 is a great tier for a free account to participate in a battle, but when you get into Tier 7, you're just not seeing the revenue to justify not only the time, these games are going to be longer, you're getting into Tier 9 matches. You're getting into ships that are completely fine going the full 20 minutes, and I hate that. I want to have fun. I want to play the match. I want to fire on ships. I want to kill ships. I want to capture objectives. I don't want to be here all day shooting at max range against the enemy. That's just not fun to me. So, Tier 8. Tier 8 is starting to cost a pretty penny just to pull. 75,000 credits. Also at Tier 8, the expectation is you will probably use premium consumables. So that's another 20,000 credits per consumable that you use. And you kind of need this to compete against your opponent consistently, because they're going to be doing the same thing. They're going to be pulling premium stuff. They have premium ships. You're fighting Tier 10s, which is scary in itself. You're going up against players with a lot of experience in the game, and they don't want to use that experience because they want to just sit around and watch the game. The max you could probably expect if you have really good success is 3 games an hour at Tier 8. Obviously, if you die early, you can pull. But 75,000 credits just to pull a ship is expensive. The credits generated in a carry match at Tier 8, non-premium, 250,000 credits. That's only 3.3 times, 3 repeating of course, the credits that it costs to even get in the match. you're getting very close to not having the ability to cover the cost. So it's really dangerous. I would not recommend Tier 8 at all for someone who's trying to grind out credits. No way. Plus the matches, they just take too long. They really do. They really do. As someone who is actively trying to get through all of the lines, we're at Tier 9 for a lot of them. They just don't want to play the game. Tier 9s, Tier 10s, they would rather watch the ticker reach 0 than try and kill the enemy. And that's sad. So the final tier that I'm going to talk about, Tier 8 premium ships. They've got basically the same cost, 50 to 75,000 credits. But that income goes way up. Again, this is a non-premium account. If I had a premium account on top of a premium ship, that's pretty awesome. But this is a carry game in a Tier 8 premium. We earned 450,000 credits without the premium account. That's 9 times the cost it was to load into that match. And that's pretty awesome. You can expect to play around 4 matches per hour in a Tier 8 premium if you have great success. And that's pretty good income, right? 1 million credits per hour if you are able to successfully carry the game. And that probably drops down to 600,000 per hour. That's still really good. That's still really good. The only issue is that Tier 8 is very hard. You're getting into Tier 9 and 10. Super players, super skilled players. Now, of course, there are bad players at every tier, but there's a lot less of them at that tier. It's probably going to be frustrating for you to be able to find success consistently at Tier 8, but a Tier 8 premium is definitely worth it. I would say that a Tier 8 premium jumps ahead of Tier 7 and Tier 8 non-premium ships by a large margin. They're usually really fun ships to play. The Tirpitz, the Yatago, the Kutuzov. I really enjoy all of those ships. Now for me, Tier 5 and Tier 5 Premium are the sweet spot. Those games are fast enough that you can expect to probably play 5, 6, 7 if you die early. That's awesome. That's a huge amount of credits that you can earn. And it doesn't cost a lot to maintain those ships. That's really the most important thing about that. Tier 7, Tier 8, I wouldn't touch it. Non-premium, normal ships, they just cost a little bit too much to grind out at Tier 7 and Tier 8. Tier 8 premiums basically sit where Tier 6 sit for me. It's a good, solid place to generate credits, especially if you're short on time. Maybe you can only play 1 game, 2 games a day. If you're good at the game, Tier 8 Premium will probably generate the most credits over time. Tier 4 is a great tier. It's just a little bit time taxing in order to generate the kind of credits that you want. So, hopefully this was useful. I know, for those who don't care about credits, hopefully the background game was entertaining enough. It is an issue, however, for a lot of players. A lot of players can't have a premium account like I can, can't afford a premium ship like I can. They have to really consider what tier to play, which tier feels the most rewarding, and hopefully this information was good enough that you can make an educated decision what fits you the most. Because quite honestly, if you're terrible at Tier 5, don't play Tier 5. Play the tier that you are the best at. But hopefully, you will get good at Tier 5 so you can maximize that credit. Because we all know, money is the most important thing. Now, I'm being completely sarcastic when I say stuff like that. That's not true. Not true at all. Not the most important thing. The most important thing is happiness. And money brings you happiness. Well, hey, stop going there. I'm sorry. But really, I hope that everyone can find success out there with whatever they're trying to do. If they're trying to grind out chips, if they're trying to grind out credits, hopefully this was helpful. I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you next time.